Am I the jerk for calling out my sibling for being rude to my spouse in an attempt to get her to take his side in a baby name argument with his spouse? My brother and sister-in-law are expecting their first child in July. So far they have no name, and in the last 3-4 weeks, my brother has been trying to get my wife involved in this discussion. The reason he wants my wife to give her input is that his wife likes names he does not. He finds them ugly and not fit for grown people names, so boy names on girls, girl names on boys, unisex names, nicknames as full names, and nature or word names. My wife and her siblings have names that fit all the things my sister-in-law loves and my brother hates. For example, my wife's first name is Birdie, and one of her brothers is named Delaney. My brother has a particular issue with my wife's name for hitting 3 of his no-no categories: nature, word, and nickname. My brother has been arguing with my sister-in-law that the names she likes do not work for adults. He believes she should go for something classic and sophisticated, instead of something that ages badly. Because of my wife and her siblings' names, he believed she would be on his side. However, given my wife has kept her name for 28 years, you would think it would be clear that this is not true, and that she clearly doesn't hate it or feel like it's ruining her life. Despite this, my brother has asked her via text, DM, and in person to get involved and speak about the issues with the names my sister-in-law likes. I have told my brother to stop 4 times already. The other times that I didn't know about when they were happening, my wife told him she didn't feel she should get involved. My brother is getting more rude about it. He's insulting my wife and her siblings' names by using them as examples, insulting their intelligence by saying anyone with those names would be idiotic to keep them as an adult. And he's generally being unpleasant about it by telling my wife she needs to speak to my sister-in-law for him. He insists that she needs to speak up when she doesn't need to do anything he tells her. I called him out for being rude 2 days ago. I told him he can't make my wife side with him and he can't make her get involved when she doesn't want to. I said we both know this isn't our business and that this is their kid and they need to figure it out. My brother argued with me and said he wasn't being rude, and he's allowed to ask for help to point out the dangers of giving a dumb name. I told him he isn't owed her support, and he owes her an apology for being so rude and insulting. My wife chimed in that he wouldn't like what she has to say. My brother told me not to be such a jerk about him looking for help so his kid doesn't end up with an awful name. Am I the jerk? I think you are not in the wrong here. Your brother is being overly dramatic about the whole thing. Keep standing up for your wife. He deserves to be put in his place. She should email him and let him know that she loves her name and supports whatever name is chosen for the baby. Then go no contact with your brother, but support your sister-in-law and baby as much as you can. Am I the jerk for not inviting my cousin's partner to my wedding reception? My fiancé and I are getting married in August. It is a small ceremony with only my parents and his 2 closest friends in attendance. We are then hosting a party a couple of days later, where the extended family is invited to come and celebrate with us at a local venue. We have had some difficulties with the guest list. The issue at hand is that my eldest cousin's girlfriend bullied me when we were teenagers. I don't want to delve into the details, but her bullying led to a severe eating disorder that required hospitalization and treatment. She made hurtful comments about my body and encouraged others to join in as well. I have encountered her a few times since. I have not engaged in conversation, but I have greeted her politely and left it at that. She has not attempted to speak to me and has not apologized. I still receive therapy today to address the issues stemming from the bullying I endured. I have chosen not to invite her to the party, as I do not want anyone present who has made such hurtful remarks about me. Unfortunately, my cousin has informed me he will not attend as a result. Additionally, my aunt is upset and believes we are being unfair. She too is threatening not to come unless we extend an invitation to her as well. My family is not aware of everything she has done. They view it as mere silly teenage bickering, but to me, it was much more than that. I am torn because I do want my cousin to be there. He is one of my favorite family members and holds significant value to me. Am I being unreasonable? Should I endure it for 1 day and allow her to come? My father believes that if I do not wish to include her, I should not feel obligated to do so, as the day should revolve around me and my soon-to-be husband. On the other hand, my mother wants me to maintain harmony and unity within the family on what she perceives as a crucial day. I am unsure of what to do. My fiancé states that it is ultimately my decision, as the experience belongs to me and thus should be my call. Am I in the wrong for not inviting her? Should I concede and allow her to attend to maintain everyone's happiness? I think you are not in the wrong here. This is your day, and you don't have to invite anyone who would dampen it. At the end of the day, it is your party, and you get to decide who is in attendance. Why should you have someone who went out of their way to make you miserable be with you while you celebrate? Am I the jerk for refusing to prioritize my sibling over me? I am a 15-year-old male, and I have a younger sister named Abby who is 13 years old. My parents always referred to her as their miracle baby, and would pick fights with family members because Abby would get away with everything, even stealing toys from cousins and being selfish. This behavior happened everywhere, at our grandparents' house, in public, and at home. My parents would get furious when family members tried to correct Abby's behavior. They also blamed her actions on me, saying that I didn't care when she took things from me. When Abby was 5 years old, she got very sick with the flu, which developed into pneumonia, requiring her to stay in the hospital for weeks. After that incident, my parents became even more focused on Abby, making her the top priority and neglecting my needs. They would cancel my plans with friends last minute or not allow me to go out because Abby wanted to play with me. This caused me to miss out on opportunities and friendships. Abby and I would often argue because she would demand my attention, and my parents always sided with her, making it difficult for me to maintain friendships. They would force me to spend time with her, even if I didn't want to. This dynamic made it challenging for me to have a social life. 2 years ago, Abby stole from one of my friends while he was at our house, and my parents defended her actions, refusing to make her return the stolen item. This incident led to the end of that friendship, and Abby mocked me for being upset about it. I expressed my frustration to her, but instead of addressing the issue, I got grounded. This experience made me stop caring about Abby and prioritize myself over her happiness. Now, my parents are upset with me because the summer camp they are sending us to will separate us, and they expected me to advocate for keeping us together. I refused to comply, stating that I don't care about Abby's feelings anymore. They accused me of being selfish and told me to prioritize my sister over myself, but I stood my ground. Am I the asshole? You are not in the wrong here. It's ridiculous how they make a big deal out of a baby being born just a week early, calling it a miracle. Prioritizing one's own well-being over someone else's is completely valid, especially when there's such obvious unequal treatment. They've made it quite easy to see where the priorities should lie. Am I the jerk for not fighting for us to get our cat back? My spouse and I rented one half of a duplex for 4 years. During that time, we adopted our cat, Addie. A year and a half ago, there was a fire caused by someone on the other half of the duplex, resulting in the destruction of the house. Despite losing a lot, Addie thankfully came out unharmed. We temporarily relocated in with my brother's family. Their kids grew fond of Addie. Our landlord would need to demolish and rebuild the duplex due to the extensive damage. This led us to search for a new place to live. After a long search, we realized that all the available options in our area within our budget did not allow pets. My brother and sister-in-law kindly offered to look after Addie while we attempted to secure a spot at a pet-friendly apartment. Over the past year and a half, we have visited their home often to see Addie. Additionally, my brother's family took on the financial responsibility for Addie, including vet bills and food, and declined our offer to contribute. As time passed, it became apparent to me that the chances of us being able to take Addie back were slim. Addie had grown accustomed to having someone around as my sister-in-law works from home, whereas my spouse and I work in offices in a different city. Moreover, the children had become more attached to Addie. I tried to discuss this with my spouse on numerous occasions, but she was in denial. Last month, we finally got off the wait list for a better apartment that permits pets. My spouse immediately contacted my brother to inquire about Addie. He suggested that we meet for dinner with him and his wife. During the dinner, they expressed their desire to continue caring for Addie, mentioning how attached they had become to her. They pointed out that the children and Addie would have a hard time adjusting if she were to leave, as she had grown accustomed to their presence. I must admit that Addie does appear content in their care. My spouse initially objected, but I suggested that we take some time to consider it. Upon returning home, I explained that it was in Addie's best interest. She became upset and insisted on having Addie back, mentioning the agreement we had made. I reiterated that we needed to consider what was best for Addie and what was fair to everyone involved. In the end, she reluctantly agreed. We still visit Addie, but my spouse behaves differently during our visits. At times, I sense that she holds some resentment towards my brother and his family for keeping Addie, but she refuses to discuss it. Recently, a friend inquired if we planned to get another cat. My spouse responded negatively, expressing that she believes I would just give it away again. I was hurt by her comment and clarified that I would not have given Addie away if not for the circumstances. She made it evident that she will never comprehend my decision. Am I the antagonist? It makes sense to have a clear conversation about the cat with your wife beforehand, especially if it is going to cause her distress. Your wife has every right to feel upset because you gave away her cat to your family. It's really important to communicate openly in such situations to avoid unnecessary hurt. Everyone involved should have been more considerate of each other's feelings and responsibilities. Am I the jerk for spending too much of my partner's vacation budget? My boyfriend and I, both in our early to mid-20s, recently went on an international vacation together. He comes from a wealthy family, while I worked my way through college and have no savings. We are both early in our careers, earning the same amount of money working full-time. Several months ago, my boyfriend suggested that we take an international vacation together. I informed him that I couldn't afford it, but he insisted on covering the expenses. He booked the flights and most of the accommodations with his own money, while his parents covered the rest of our hotel stays. Although I felt uncomfortable with it, I took the opportunity as I had never traveled abroad before. On our first night, we dined at an expensive restaurant of his choice where we each had an entree, shared an appetizer, and had a drink each. Later, we went for ice cream and another drink. The evening was enjoyable, and we were both in high spirits. The following morning, he seemed distant and was engrossed in his phone. He informed me that we were exceeding the budget and that I should cut down on my spending by paying for my own appetizers, drinks, desserts, and extras. I explained that I couldn't afford restaurant expenses in a tourist town. I offered to refrain from ordering those items if I was expected to pay for them myself, which was acceptable to me. I was simply happy to be there. I mentioned that all our orders had been at his suggestion, and he never indicated in the moment that it was too much. This led to a significant argument, with him accusing me of trying to make him feel guilty for not having enough money to fulfill all my desires. I clarified that wasn't my intention at all, but that we should have had a clearer conversation about the budget before the trip. He strongly felt I made him feel inadequate for not being able to provide the world for me. The entire day turned tense. Am I the antagonist for responding in this manner? He believes I should have displayed more gratitude and not become defensive. Looking back, I acknowledge that since he was covering all expenses, I perhaps should have simply agreed instead of arguing. I think you are not in the wrong here. It was unfair for him to suggest expensive restaurants and then resent you for taking him up on it. He may be used to splurging, but you made it clear from the beginning that you couldn't afford this trip, and he insisted on treating you. Now that you know there's a budget, suggest less expensive restaurants and activities should he propose lavish ones. I hope you two can resolve this issue and still have a lovely time together. Am I the jerk for stealing a $3,000 bottle of champagne? Every Christmas, we have a large family lunch. Kris Kringle takes place after lunch when everyone is in good spirits. The tradition involves wrapping a $50 gift, placing it in a pile, and having someone randomly select a gift to open. House rules allow for trading or stealing gifts from others who have already opened theirs. Due to the wealth disparity in our family, some individuals exceed the budget, turning Kris Kringle into a game of, I'm going to steal whatever I think is most valuable. Every year, my uncle's father-in-law brings a bottle of champagne valued at up to $3,000. I've witnessed it end up back in his possession or that of someone wealthier. It's disheartening to see my relatives, who would never have the opportunity to enjoy such luxury items, excited to receive them, only to have the gift taken away by the original giver simply because they can. I turned 18 last year, so I participated in Kris Kringle. The event unfolded as usual with inappropriate behavior and gift stealing. Although I do not drink and had no intention to, I attempted to take the bottle of champagne. My aunt's mother objected, stating, "You can't take this if you're not going to drink it." I mentioned that I planned to give it to my parents, which should not have been an issue. While there are no rules about using or sharing the gift you select, she was insistent that my actions were not permitted and accused me of causing trouble. When I asked for a valid reason why, it escalated into an argument. Despite my grandparents' efforts to defuse the situation, tensions rose. My uncle called me ungrateful, and my mother defended me, highlighting how he treats us differently due to our financial struggles. Eventually, my uncle, aunt, and her parents stormed out, taking the bottle with them, which soured the rest of the afternoon as they departed early. At the time, my parents supported my actions, but advised that I should have let go of the bottle to avoid the conflict. I apologized to them as I did not anticipate the severity of the situation. It is now May, and they are still not speaking. My parents attribute this to the Christmas incident and urge me to apologize. One of my mom's brothers sides with me, acknowledging that such conflicts have occurred before and that there is a pattern of behavior within the family. While my mom agrees, she simply wishes to mend the rift. I am hesitant to apologize. I believe the issue is not solely about the champagne, but rather that my relatives are overreacting because I inadvertently pointed out their problematic behavior, which they are unwilling to address. I am tired of them denying their immature behavior while blaming me for a long-standing issue. So, am I the antagonist in this situation? You are not the jerk, and what is up with your family? Secret Santa is supposed to be fun, so if there's a $50 limit, stick to it, people. Your family's behavior sounds like school playground drama, not what one would expect from mature adults. It's hard to believe they're making such a fuss over a bottle of champagne that's likely not even worth the hype. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.